It's National Youth Sports Week, and that's all about promoting the importance of healthy choices and athleticism in children across the country. Here with us to talk about ways you can get your kids active is Dr. Bankert with Children's Hospital New Orleans. Hi, Dr. Bankert. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. All right, so first of all, obviously we talk all the time about why it's so important to get kids involved in physical activity. What are some of the benefits besides just, get their little bodies moving? I mean, it's good for them to be outside, right? Breathing fresh air and kind of getting away from the screens.
Sure, there are multiple benefits from getting kids involved in youth sports, and some you may not think about, such as improved performance in school, including enhancing concentration. The more active kids are, the more likely they are to be able to focus in class. Consistency in class attendance and participation. Development of necessary social skills you may not think about as well, like leadership, teamwork, working with others, very important benefits of this. Also, we see some reduced risk of anxiety and depression, as well as some increased confidence and self-esteem. We see decreased risk of behavioral problems and substance abuse. Lots of these kind of mental as well as academic benefits, and then in addition to, as you mentioned, physical benefits such as improved physical fitness and cardiovascular health.
Sure. When you're on a team sport, you have to learn to work together, which I guess is kind of an essential, building block, if you will. When you're a child, you're learning how to work together and kind of work with others.
Absolutely, yep. And coming in a team sport like that, it's very important and very good skill building activity to help with that team building aspect. Work with others, how to get along with other kids, and I think it's very important and helps to participate in sports to accomplish these goals.
Sure. We just had a study that was released this morning. We were reporting on it earlier this morning about childhood obesity rates and how they're so high across the country. Can you talk about why it's so important to get kids active? I'm sure a lot of people have kids who say, look, I just don't want to do a sport, or I don't want to go outside and play, but why it's so critical for parents to really push their children to get that physical activity?
Sure. It's all about starting those good, healthy fitness goals at a young age, so they carry them on, throughout life. And the earlier that kids start with these healthy fitness goals, the better. I know it can be difficult to motivate some children to get active, especially these days. And so got a couple tips for parents here. First tip is probably the most difficult, unfortunately. Most children model their behavior after their parents. So it's important for the parents to develop their own healthy habits, get active themselves, and that way the kids see that. They're more likely to develop the activity themselves, get active with them, promotes good family dynamics, and definitely helps develop these goals at a young age. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can always start simple if kids aren't active, aren't interested in getting active, start with walks, field trips to local parks, even just dancing around the house, make it fun. You just want to limit that, stationary screen time, phones, TVs, tablets, those kind of things as much as you can. Helpful to promote them to stay active, encourage them, congratulate them when they are active, support them, in trying many different activities, not just one thing. And when they find something they connect to, it's always important to encourage and just motivate them to keep up with it.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice. So let's say you've got a child who decides, they want to get involved in youth sports. Maybe they haven't done that before. How do you make sure they don't go out there and get injured right away?
Sure. So, first it starts off with just getting your annual physical to make sure the kid is healthy, make sure they don't have any ongoing injuries or health issues that could put them at risk for injury. So that's important every year to get an annual physical. You certainly want to make sure they have proper equipment. So always check the equipment for any damages, make sure they have proper protection, make sure they have proper coaching, and that's a big focus of these National Youth Sports Weeks. Proper coaching to learn proper techniques to avoid injuries. That's very important these days. Make sure they're getting enough rest, getting enough sleep, utilizing the breaks from the sports to avoid any overuse or exhaustion. And then other things we always recommend is participation in multiple different sports to avoid any overuse injuries and burnout. We see that with early sports specialization. If you focus on one sport, you're much more likely to have some overuse injuries and issues. Make sure they're stretching and warming up properly before any sports activity, as well as make sure they're maintaining proper hydration, especially down here in Louisiana.
That definitely sounds good. All right, Dr. Bankert, thank you again for those tips this morning. We appreciate it.
No problem.